Let's jump straight into it. Dagra 1, the First War Elephants. The first time this worked, the enemy didn't even know what they were looking at. In the 4th century BCE, Greek soldiers fighting in India saw something no training prepared them for. Out of the dust came massive animals taller than buildings, armored, screaming, and moving straight toward the line. They weren't charging fast. They didn't need to. They just kept coming. Horses reacted first. They reared, bucked, and refused to move. Riders were thrown. Entire cavalry units lost control before contact even happened. Infantry held formation for a few seconds, then panic set in. Shields shook, men stepped back. That was enough. The elephants closed the distance. Tusks shoved shields aside. Feet crushed anything underneath. Men were knocked flat, trampled, or shoved into each other until formations collapsed. Soldiers described the ground shaking, the noise overwhelming, and the feeling that the battlefield itself was alive and angry. Many defenders broke and ran without ever striking a blow. Others froze in place, staring up at something they had no way to fight. The elephants didn't need tactics. Fear did the work for them. 2. Hannibal's elephants. This plan terrified Rome before the fighting even started. In 218 BCE, Hannibal marched an army from Spain to Italy by crossing the Alps. Along with tens of thousands of soldiers, he brought elephants. No one thought this was possible. That disbelief was part of the strategy. The crossing was brutal. Narrow mountain paths collapsed underfoot. Soldiers slipped and fell into ravines. Snow and ice killed men and animals alike. Elephants froze, starved or lost footing, and disappeared down cliffs. By the time Hannibal reached Italy, most of the elephants were dead or barely standing. But the effect remained. When Roman scouts reported elephants emerging from the mountains, it shattered morale. These weren't just animals. They were proof that Hannibal would do things no sane commander would attempt. On the battlefield, even weakened elephants caused chaos. Roman horses panicked, infantry scattered, lines broke under pressure they couldn't predict. Most of the elephants died soon after from wounds, cold, or disease. They didn't need to last. They had already done their job. Number 3, the charge of the Polish cavalry. This story became propaganda because it sounded too stupid to question. In 1939, as Germany invaded Poland, reports spread that Polish cavalry charged German tanks with sabers. Horses versus steel. The story was repeated endlessly as proof of backward thinking. That isn't what happened. Polish cavalry were mounted infantry. They used horses to move fast, then fought on foot with rifles and machine guns. In one engagement, Polish cavalry encountered German infantry resting in the open. They charged. Sabers out, rifles firing, they tore through unprepared infantry. It worked. The Germans scattered. The cavalry achieved exactly what they were trained to do. Then armored vehicles arrived. Machine guns opened fire. Horses screamed and panicked. Riders were thrown. Men scrambled for cover as bullets tore through open ground. What had been a successful attack turned into a desperate retreat. The cavalry pulled back with heavy losses. German propaganda turned this into a joke. Polish soldiers charging tanks became the story everyone remembered. The truth was worse. The cavalry hadn't been foolish. They'd been obsolete mid-battle. The horse didn't fail. The world had moved on. 4. Carrier pigeons in World War I. These birds flew through hell. Before reliable radios, armies needed messengers. Carrier pigeons were small, fast, and nearly impossible to stop. During World War I, they were sent through artillery fire, smoke, and poison gas. One of the most famous cases involved a trapped American unit surrounded by enemy fire. Artillery from their own side was accidentally hitting their position. Communications were cut. Soldiers were being killed by friendly fire. The last pigeon was released. The bird was hit almost immediately, shot through the chest, blinded in one eye, a leg nearly torn off. It kept flying. The message arrived. Artillery stopped. The surviving soldiers lived. Many pigeons didn't make it. Birds were shot, burned, or suffocated by gas. Others delivered messages with missing legs or shattered wings. They were awarded medals. They earned them. Number 5. Dogs at the Battle of Stalingrad. This idea crossed a line. During World War II, the Soviet Union trained dogs to carry explosives underneath enemy tanks. The plan was simple. Train the dogs to run under tanks, detonate the charge, and destroy the vehicle. In practice, it was chaos. The dogs were trained using Soviet tanks. On the battlefield, under gunfire, many ran toward familiar shapes instead. Others panicked. Some returned to their handlers with explosives still attached. Those that reached enemy tanks caused destruction. Vehicles were disabled. Crews panicked. The psychological effect was real. The cost was horrific. Handlers died. Dogs died. The program was eventually abandoned because it was too dangerous, unpredictable, and brutal even by wartime standards. Dogs also served in less extreme roles at Stalingrad. They carried supplies through rubble, found wounded soldiers buried under debris, and warned of approaching enemies in the dark. They didn't understand strategy. They understood commands. They paid the price anyway. That's enough history for one video.